Alright guys, last week while I was doing Everything Dies by Fravis, I had another user by the name of NoobNeroo, something like that, send me a message saying, hey, I see you're doing subscriber builds, would you care to take out my deck? And I said, in true Newfie fashion, I said, sure, bye. I'll give her a go. So that's what I'm going to do, and same as I did last week. I'm probably not going to play this one for a full week, maybe. I think I'll do what I did with Fravis's deck, take it out for 2 episodes as it was given to me, and then tweak it and take it out for 2 more, something like that. I think I did 3 afterwards on the last deck, but I think I'll do 2 before, 2 after. I had a quick look at it, just put it together, and I think, as far as I can tell, the deck is based kind of around this card, Death Baron's card. You don't see too often because there really aren't a whole lot of good skeletons and zombies in the pool. But he's a 3-mana 2/2 that gives your other skeletons and zombies +1/+1 and Death Touch. So I think that's the centerpiece of the build. All the creatures are black in this deck, so I'm not going to walk up the curve or anything like that since I didn't make these choices. So I'm just going to show you the list, talk about the card a little bit. He's got 2 copies of Quest for the Gravelord in here, so whenever a creature dies, you can put a quest counter on it, and when you get to 3, you get to sacrifice it for a 5/5 zombie. He's got 2 copies. I'm not too big on this card usually, and it's one of those cards where on the first turn it's probably pretty good because you can set it up and play with it, but you top deck this thing late in the game and it's pretty bad. So with only 2 copies, I'm not sure how reliably we're going to be able to get this on the first turn or how often we're just going to draw it too late in the game and it doesn't matter. So we'll see how that works out. Also, he's got 4 copies of Pharika's Chosen in here, just a 1/1 Death Toucher. There is green in this deck, and he's using it for creature pump, so I think that's why the Death Touch is in here. It's not a zombie or a skeleton; it's a snake, so it doesn't get any other buffs. But seems like there is a Death Touching sub theme in here, at least from what I can tell. So I'll try to keep the spirit of the build alive. I'll try to figure out what the deck is, what it is that the deck wants to do before. I just don't want to say, hey, here's a green-black deck, play Spider Spawning, and say that I modify. I want to keep the spirit and the flavor of the deck, which is what I did with Fravis' deck last week. That's why I kept the Raid Bombardments and Blasting Stations and built around those cards, because to me that felt like, what the deck was trying to do. So I'm going to try and figure out what this deck is trying to do this week, and try to keep the spirit of the build intact after 2 episodes. So next card is Drudge Skeletons. It's a 2-mana 1/1 skeleton. So this this card is not the strongest thing. It does have a really, really cheap regeneration cost, so you can chump block all day long with this thing for just 1 black mana. So that's a good thing, but I mean, the inclusion of that card is kind of why I think that Death Baron is a centerpiece in here. We've also got Agent of the Fates, who's not a skeleton or a zombie, but he does have Heroic, and he does have Death Touch, which I think, again, is another theme in here. But he has Heroic, and then there's some green targeting spells in here that we can use to target him, so... got Graveborn Muse in here for card draw, obviously. I love this card, and I think it's really good. Got all 3 copies of Paragon of Open Graves, which boosts up all our black creatures, and like I said earlier, every single creature in this deck is black. It's again got the Death Touch theme on it, and the +1/+1 theme, same as Death Baron has. So kind of pump your team and give them Death Touch. We've got 3 copies of Viscera Dragger. It's a zombie ogre warrior. It fills in, you can see there's only 4 2-drops down there, which are those Drudge Skeletons, but these 3 copies here, even though they show up in the 4-drop slot on the curve down there, they probably meant to be cycled on the 2nd turn in most cases. So it helps you do things on turn 2 when you don't really have anything to do. But still, I'm still a little bit worried about this deck's early game, but we'll see how it goes. He's got all 4 copies of Prey Upon in here, so it's just target creature you control fights another target creature. And with all the Death Touch here, we can pretty much kill anything, but we're going to be 2 for 1-ing ourselves in a lot of cases if we're using something like a Pharika's Chosen. And he's got 2 copies of Chorus of Might in here. Until end of turn, target creature gains +1/+1 for each creature you control and gains trample. The deck has 20 creatures in it, but it's also got some Spider Spawnings, which we obviously everybody knows about that card. So I think the Chorus of Might be in here to work with the Spider Spawnings, because 20 creatures is not a whole lot to be running a couple of copies of this card. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how it plays, because I haven't ever played it. I've always wanted to play it in an Exalted deck, with what's that new white card? I used to think that it would be good with Sign of the Wild, but the mana cost was too steep. The double green, you're too far into green. But I think in white Exalted with what's that 3-mana card? The new one. Anyway. Crusader of Udric. Ah, there we go. Yeah, with Crusader of Udric and Exalted, this thing could be pretty good. So I've always wanted to try that. He's got both copies of Hunter's Prowess in here, which is a really strong card. It's vulnerable to removal and bounce and that sort of thing. but it's an extremely powerful effect if you can get it to go off. So if your opponent's tapped out, you give a dude +3/+3 and trample, and you draw as many cards as you deal damage. Another one of the cool things about this deck, he's playing, on top of that, he's playing all 3 copies of Enlarge plus the 2 Chorus Might, so there is a trample theme in here as well. And the interaction between Death Touch and Trample is really cool. So if you have a Freak is Chosen and on the battlefield, and you target it with, we'll say, Hunter's Prowess, it becomes a 4/4 Trampler with Death Touch. So if you swing into a 10/10, I don't think there's any 10/10s in the game, are there? We'll say you swing into a Fusion Elemental, you only have to assign lethal damage to it before you trample over, so you can still assign 3 damage through a 10/10 and draw 3 cards. So that's pretty cool, the way the interaction between Death Touch and Trample works. So I think, again, that's another one of the themes in here is Trample, but I'm a bit wary of running 5 of these because they're 5 mana, sorcery speed, and you can get hit by a Vapor Snag or a Shock and just totally get blown out. So I like this card. It's in the right situation because the payoff for this card is there. You refill your hand. I'm not too sure about Enlarge, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, +7/+7 is pretty big, and if they have an untapped dude, I mean, they got to lose at least a token or something. So I mean, they're going to lose something unless their board is tapped out. Yeah. So with Chorus Might, Hunter's Prowess, and Enlarge, there's a lot of trample going on. 2 copies of Spider Spawning. I guess that's just for, oh shit, my plan didn't go well. All my creatures died to some type of control deck. So let's just grab a spawning and get some spiders, and then of course Chorus Might is going to be good if you get a spider army on the go. And then there's 1 Holo Triumph in here, which obviously is going to be set to black since there are no green. Well, I shouldn't say there are no green creatures, but because the spider tokens are green. So I mean, perhaps if you spawn and top deck a Holo Triumph, you could occasionally set it on green. But all the actual creature cards in this deck are black. So I mean, 99% of the time you're going to be setting Holo Triumph on black. So it seems to be the theme here is Death Touch, Trample, Team Buff, and Creature Buff. So I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to try to keep that theme intact after I play 2 episodes with it and see how it goes. Alright, so I'll see you for a gameplay in a couple seconds. Alright guys, this is game 1 of episode 1 of Unholy Might. We're looking at a good mana base, 2 of each source. Got a, we do have a turn 1 Freak is Chosen. There's only a couple 2-drops in the deck. Maybe we can go swamp into Gate. Got a pair of Death Barons and Spider Spawning. I mean, I guess that's a keep. Get a 1-drop and a couple of 3-drops. On the draw though. Playing against Ein 8, Volk 8. Plains, not a Plains, I'm sorry, that's an Azorius Gilgate. I just saw the white and that's where my brain went. He is playing 61 cards, and we picked up a Quest for the Gravelord. Quest for the Gravelord. I mean, do I get that out on the first? Do I just play tap land and then just jam both of these guys? I think that's what I do. I just jam the both of them next turn. I'm probably missing out on a point of damage. If I had just played the Chosen and the next turn tap land. Yeah, I missed a point of damage for sure. So he plays the Plains, and he gained 1 life even though he doesn't know it. So let's put out the quest, see if he counters it. That'd be funny. And then Freak is Chosen. Get that little gal out there. I'm calling it a gal because I'm pretty sure Farika the God is a gal. He's just going to bounce it right now. I mean, I don't understand that. I'm playing these enlarges and other targeting things. I mean, you can extract way more value from a Vapor Snag than that. You really need to hang on to that stuff. And he's going to solemn offering the quest. Boom, he's just blowing his hand here. Go for it, man. I'm perfectly fine with all of that. Here's another quest, funny enough. I was talking in the deck, well, I wouldn't call it a deck tech, but the little segment about how, it was probably not likely that we'll draw them early since there's only 2 in the deck, and boom, here we are, 10 cards deep, and we got them both. But I'm just going to jam a 3-drop to be efficient with the mana, get that out there. And then next turn it'll probably be Quest into another Death Baron, but he's going Mausoleum Guard, which is a 2/2 for 4, but he gets 2 1/1 flyers when it dies. So we're going to use the other Death Baron to buff this Death Baron up, because it is a zombie itself, but it only buffs other zombies. But in conjunction they make each other 3/3s, and then we're going to slap down a Quest, because, Freak is Chosen doesn't get the buff, and if he has some type of removal, then, at least we'll start putting counters on that thing. So now we get to attack in here. He can have his flyers, but at least we won't be trading. So we're going to knock off 3 of the 4 life that he just gained. Got a spider spawning here. I'm not sure, you know, like the last deck, I'm not sure this is the right place for it. If you don't have Satyr Wayfinders, or if you don't have some way to actively put cards in your graveyard, I mean, this deck only has 3 Viscera Draggers where you can put cards in there on demand. If you actually have to wait for the game to flow and do all of that, then spider spawning is actually pretty slow. I mean, you really kind of need to have a deck that fills the graveyard. So we've got a 2/2 first striker. Am I worried that he can like buff that up and knock out one of my dudes and then trade with my other guy? Yes I am. I am certainly worried. So I'm not going to show him anything. I'm going to swing here. He's only got 2 first strike power. And I mean, if the board goes completely apeshit crazy, I'll have a 5/5 on the other side. So let's just do this. Hope that he can't buff up that 2/2 first strike to a 3/3 and just shoot one of my guys for free. So yeah, he's going to double block, which is fine. We're going to get 3 deaths here. So, you know, 2 first strike damage, but then my 3 is going to kill his 2 guys. My guy's going to die to the token. And we're going to get all 3 triggers that we need. Okay. You know, that's pretty cool. I don't know why he wouldn't sacrifice the Mausoleum Guard and get his flyers, but whatever. So now we can get an Agent of the Fates out there. And a Chosen. And a Swamp. Okay, so let's just hang on to this quest for the Gravelord here, and we'll crack it at the end of his turn, probably. Unless he quits. Well, we'll still do it even if he does quit, but he's got a 6 mana now. He could have Planar Cleansing in a deck like this. I don't know why he blew that Vapor Snag so fast. Yeah, we are going to go get the 5/5 though. We're going to go get that. Oh, it's a 6/6, that's right. Hall of Triumph. Okay. Off the top. We are just going to absolutely get hosed by Planar Cleansing, but I mean, we're just going for it. Let's say, here you go. That is a lot of power right there. That is 16, I believe. So he's going to negate 7 of it, take 9, go to 9. I think I did the math right there. I didn't look at the life total. I know he's on 9, but I can't remember what he started at. He's got 2 1/1 flyers, so he's got some chump blockers. He's got 7 lands, you know, but only 2 cards in his hand. Now, how many creatures do we have in the graveyard? Only 1, and it's this late in the game. We've only got 1. I mean, I don't think spider spawning is right here. Our token just got arrested, so that cannot attack or block. So we're just going to swing with the rest of the team. You know, he can trade his 2 flyers with a Pharika's Chosen, but I'd be definitely cool with that. Instead, he's just going to just chump here, which is, again, cool. We're not going to spawn for 1. We're going to wait till he cleanses and then follow up with this. Because we know it's in there. No, he's just playing land. And Dragger. I mean, I guess I could have cycled it and then unearthed it just for some overkill, but you never know. You never know what your opponent has. Just kill him. So there we go. Okay. Yeah, our opponent, he was pretty anxious with that first Vapor Snag. Wow. All right, but it's a win. A win is a win. So let's see what the deck does in game 2. All right, guys. See you in a couple seconds. All right. Well, that first game went pretty well. So let's see what we can do in game 2 here. Looking at a swamp and a bunch of cards. Mulligan. Now we've got 4 lands. We've got turn 2 skeletons or cycling on Dragger, and we've got an enlarge there. I guess that's good enough on the play. We've only got 1 black mana, which is disconcerting since this is a base black deck. So let's get that in play. I think the play might be to cycle a Dragger rather than just get out of Drudge Skeletons. Don't think this is really an aggressive creature. Whoa, settle down there, big guy. Yeah, and I think I'd rather try and cycle for that second black source. So yeah, I think the play is to just draw another card here rather than stick out a 1/1, which isn't going to put our opponent on any type of reasonable clock. I mean, the regenerate on this thing means it's there to buy us time. At least in my opinion. He plays a swamp and just passes, so let's pause timer and cycle a Dragger here. See if we can get that swamp. It isn't. It's a Graveborn Muse. We could use the swamp to cast that for sure. It's another enlarge. So yeah, we'll go to second main and drop a Drudge Skeletons. I mean, the curve on this deck with all the 5 drops and 4 drops is really high. You know, and without very much card draw. So we've got 2 Graveworm uses for card draw, which is fine. We've got 3 Viscera Draggers, which is fine. But then the Hunter's Prowess is on 5 mana and requires a creature and your opponent not to have a Vapor Snag or a Shock or some other type of spell. But we're playing against Maurice 420, the beginner, whose first play is a Hall of Triumph, and we don't have any way of knowing what he's set it on. I mean, we'll find out when he catches a creature, I guess, but I mean, for now, we're sitting here with uncastable spells, and I mean, Prey Upon in a deck with Drudge Skeletons and Death Baron, Graveworm use. I mean, I think Prey Upon in this deck is meant to be used after an Enlarge or a Hunter's Prowess or something, but we got 5 of those cards, and unless we hit one, don't get disrupted, a whole lot has to go right for you to use Prey Upon in your second main phase. So I'm not really sure that this is where we want to be in a deck with so many little dudes. I know the deck has a bunch of team buffs, but anyway, he went Hall of Triumph into double Squadron Hawk, so that's a thing, and he's going to follow up with a pair more next turn, I'm sure, and just kill us in the air very, very quickly. So let's see. We don't pick up land, so we just die. I think we're just dead. There's really nothing we can do against that. I mean, we don't have any sweepers. Without a swamp, we're fucked. And even with the swamp, we're going to start drawing cards that can't beat flyers. The only way we can do anything is to draw into a spider spawning, but we don't have any way to fill the graveyard up because we can't chump block flyers. So we're in a lot of trouble. Definitely in a lot of trouble. Monomania? What? He cast it on himself. This is an episode for the ages. This right here is an episode for the ages. He targeted the wrong player. Oh my god. And you know something? He's probably still going to beat me with those flyers. But this is epic. Oh my god. Oh my god. Flesh to Dust, Squadron Hawk, Banisher Priest, Cloud Shift. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I done fucked up, son. And I'm like, yeah, you did, but you're probably still going to win. You're probably still going to win because I'm on a 5-turn clock, and yeah, I'm drawing Drudge Skeletons. This card is not very good. It's not very good. Do have some Unearth in here. Only 1 black mana though, and my Prey Pawns do nothing. So yeah, this deck's going to need a little bit of work because it's got a whole bunch of weenies and a whole bunch of 5 mana trampling effects. I just don't see... I just don't see it. I don't feel it, I'm not sure what it's supposed to be doing. So hopefully Noob will get in the comments there and say what the ultimate goal is. But no, he kept his Battle Grace Angel in hand. Obviously, I mean, but he's not going to go for Exalted here because he wants to push through damage in the air, which is the right thing to do. And we're just going to sit here and die after an opponent monomania'd himself. We can actually take down that thing. And let's trample across with some Death Touch. Let's see if Duels does it right now. Let's see if it does it right. So, we only have to assign 1, so he should take 9 here and go down to 8. Maybe we don't lose. Maybe we don't lose. Does he go to 8? Yes, he does, so it did it right. Yeah, we only have to assign Lethal, which is 1. On a creature with Death Touch, and then the rest goes through to the player. So now he's going to Angelic Edict the Death Toucher. We've got Enlarge now. I think we're going to kill him. Oh my god. I think we're going to kill him. Oh my god. This can't be real. This cannot be real. Oh my god. Yeah, he's so angry right now. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't have words to describe this situation, ladies and gentlemen. I do not. So even though I won that game, I'm just going to say the deck didn't do very well. We were basically dead to Squadron Hawk because we can't defend against it and we can't race it in any way. So, if not for the fact that our opponent cast Monomania on himself, and we still, even though he did that, we still had to hit runner, enlarge on a Death Toucher first of all, and then just to close out the, So that's pretty, wow. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to end the episode on this. I'm going to be like George Costanza and head out on a high note. That's insane. And yeah, this deck's going to need some work. The curve is way off. And a lot of the stuff the deck is trying to do is at odds with itself. So hopefully we can streamline it. But we're going to play this list again tomorrow. And hopefully we can run into another guy like that. Oh, epic, epic, epic. Alright, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you for some more gameplay tomorrow.